get more insights now, we're joined by Danny Jordaan, who is the current president of the South African Football Association. And Danny, just going back to when you heard the news last night or whether this morning, the feelings that came about and overcame?
Yeah, you know, we were at a function. I am in a place called Sawipi. It's near Salvador in Brazil for the final draw. And I was at the function last night when the news came through. And of course, we knew that Madiba was sick. We knew that he was in bed for a long time. But when the moment comes, it always comes as a great shock to the sadness and devastation. And when it was announced in that function, everybody just dropped all of their knives and forks and spontaneously got up and applauded the lives, the times, and the contribution of Nelson Mandela. And the emotion on all of their faces, from Zinedine Zidane, who was there, Cafu, Cannavaro, Lothar Matthäus, Jeff Hurst, all of the great players of the world were there. Sepp Blatter passed his own condolences. It was, of course, a great and sad moment, but also an indication of how the world, and not just South Africa, revered this great leader. And we can be proud as South Africans that we have, as a leader in our country, a person so revered, so loved, and so respected throughout the world. It was just wonderful to see how the world respects him.
Of course, Danny, today as we reflect on the life of a great man, you've also had the privilege of having this man acknowledge the contribution that you've made to South Africa. Talk to us a little bit about that moment in 1994 when you received that special presidential award from Nelson Mandela.
Well, of course, I was with Madiba when he came out of prison for the first time in 1990. It was a welcome for Madiba in Motherwell in Port Elizabeth. And then I became a member of parliament and served with Nelson Mandela as the president of the first democratic parliament in South Africa. And after that, we saw Nelson Mandela's imprint and the shaping of sport in the country to the extent that after winning the African Cup of Nations in 1996, winning the Rugby World Cup in 1995, all the sports teams of our country believe that once Madiba comes to visit you, you are going to win. And in sport, we talked about the Madiba magic, that this man, after you see his commitment to his country, his dedication, his being a true fighter, that will go onto that field in the spirit of Madiba and fight as patriotic and committed South Africans. And that eventually led to the success. Of course, in the World Cup, Madiba, I think, was a difference maker to secure us the right to host the World Cup. It was 100 years later, and 100 years the world believed that there's no African country with the capacity to deliver a World Cup. They believed it was too complex, too complicated, or too sophisticated for African countries. And with Madiba on the side, no one dared argue that Africa did not have the capacity. And so I think he was a difference maker, and it was just wonderful to share those moments with him. A great South African, and we can see how he lived, what he believed in, that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, both black and white. And so whether he goes to a rugby stadium, a cricket stadium, a football stadium, and whether he's with kids, all of the people where he moved loved him, applauded him, and praised him. And so he was a true South African, not just for some but for all of us, every single South African. And it's probably one of the greatest leaders ever produced by South Africa. On the African continent, one of the great leaders of the world. It's just a difficult moment. We lost a giant.
Well, Danny, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us today. That was Danny Jordaan, who is the president of the South African Football Association.